Hey guys, it is Amy, the relocated tourist, coming to you live once again from my office. It is Thursday, February 6th, 2020, and it is a windy, breezy, beautiful cover girl kind of day here. The sun's coming in and out, and our temperatures though are going to hit about 85 degrees today. Now that being said, we have some storms rolling in tonight and into tomorrow morning that are going to hit pretty hard. It's possible we could have tornadoes, so definitely keep us in your thoughts and prayers tonight. We'll see how it goes. Anything with tornadoes just scares the living bejesus out of me because we had them all the time in Wisconsin, and we had a basement in Wisconsin, and it's one of many things that I hate about Florida is that I don't have a basement to run to. It was just a feeling of comfort and safety when I could get down there, and not having that here. Hey, just go stand in the doorway or find a room that doesn't have windows, which is not that hard here, but usually there's some type of, because these are all big great rooms, something has a window. So it's like trying to find a small little corridor or hallway for the four of us to kind of shove in with three animals will be very interesting. So that gets me nervous. I don't even know if we have the sirens in this area where I'm in Davenport. The sirens that they were like a block, not even, like they were a neighborhood behind us, like so in Wisconsin. So when that sucker started up, oh my gosh, you knew. And the sky would roll in, and you just had a feeling like this is going to be bad. And so I'm a little nervous about tonight. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous about it just because, yeah, I am not a fan of tornadoes. I feel like the odds are better at surviving a tornado because of its path and everything, but I guess we're gonna find out. Even with the hurricanes that we've had come right over the top of us, it was loud. It was like a train, but it still wasn't as terrifying as being sideswiped by a tornado in my own vehicle. I was driving home from my dad's house in Manitowoc, and I had Emily sleeping in the back. I'm gonna assume Kira's in the car too. I don't remember. Memory's getting foggy already at this age, which is really sad. I'm positive I had both kids in the car though, and I had just spent time with my dad. I was by myself. Craig wasn't with me. So it was just a visit to him and back. So between Appleton and Manitowoc is about, I don't know, like 45 minutes maybe. And I was coming back, and the sky just got crazy dark. And this was the age of cell phones, but again, I had a sleeping baby in the back. I don't know if Kira's sleeping or just sitting there. And it was just getting louder and louder, and the wind was picking up. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, should I pull over? And I heard sirens out this is in all country. So you gotta imagine like farm area, like there's just farms and whatever. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is where I'm gonna die. And so I pulled over thinking maybe I should pull the girls out and go lay on the ditch. There was a house way off the distance, and I just didn't want to, I was too nervous. So we pulled off, and the rain was horizontal, and that's a really bad sign. So I prayed like crazy, you guys. And thank God, I know Emily was fast asleep. I don't know about Kira, but I was just so glad. Like I don't think Kira's awake either, but because I don't remember crying or screaming unless it was me. All that to say is we survived, we're here. But I've just had too many encounters with so many tornadoes. I mean, we were at the mall once in Sheboygan, and they had it on lockdown, and we had to stay like against the wall in JCPenney's. I remember like crying with my mom, like crying like into a man's like suit that was hanging on the wall, and we were in there for hours waiting for this thing to pass. And it's very traumatic. I'm not saying hurricanes are, I'm sure they are. I have not been hit as bad as a lot of people have by them, and hopefully never have to. But just think of all of us tonight here, because there just isn't a whole lot. And then all the trailer homes, I always wonder, oh my goodness, like, are y'all gonna be okay? Because I mean, there's literally a trailer park like 10, not even 5 minutes over there, like across from my neighborhood, and I just think, yeesh. Anyway, so I'm wearing my national park shirt today because I thought we could talk about national parks. I know it's not Disney. Well, that's because I'm called a relocated tourist doesn't mean I can't tour outside the Disney parks. And actually, it's really fun to talk about other travels because I plan on doing a lot more road trips coming up in the future. So I got this shirt actually from Old Navy, I want to say last summer, maybe even 2 years ago, and I was so excited because it was in the national parks. So funny thing, when I was growing up, my parents loved camping, and we did actually go to Disney World, but not till I was a senior in high school. But I don't recall, we did like Big Nickel Mine in Canada, which obviously is not a national park because it's in Canada. But I'm trying to think of like a big park that people would know. And I do not believe my parents ever took us to national parks. My dad just watched these, so maybe he'll comment. So I really just started getting into them when I road tripped in 2016 and 17, I believe, or 2017 and 18. Really should check that. I think it's 17 and 18. And yeah, it's 2017, 18. 2018 was a 65-day one. I believe it was 38 states I did. And I got addicted to traveling. I know this is like people joke about it, but no, really, I was like, I would wake up and be like, what can I do today? What crazy thing can I go find to do today? And I had a road trip group that about 200 some people that followed this. This was a non-relocated tourist. I'm starting to blog more about it and whatever. It was more of a private thing at the time because again, a safety thing is always a concern of mine. I was driving by myself. My husband blessed me enough to let me go have this adventure, and I just traveled everywhere. And so I tried to tell at the end of the day like where I was, so I was never putting myself at risk. But I also found that it was nice to almost have these 200 people. It was like they're all smushed in my back seat and they could join me on this crazy adventure because I just needed it. I need that contact with people. So anyway, the national parks that I headed to on that trip was the Badlands, Teddy Roosevelt, Devil's Tower. I'm going to say that I'm missing one. Gettysburg, I believe, is considered one. Is DC, the whole thing, considered a national park? I did DC again. I did quite a bit and I just got addicted. Teddy Roosevelt's park was just beautiful. You could just stand on a cliff and just look over it. And Badlands was like being on the moon. I remember Craig and I, so he flew out to Montana to meet me. It was a very wonderful romantic gesture, and it was amazing. It was an amazing moment for him and I both. We'll never forget it. And the next day, I believe, we did Teddy Roosevelt, and then the next day after that, we just ran into somebody over at Wall Drug. If you've ever heard of Wall Drug, you're all giggling because you know what I'm talking about. The very famous street of Wall Drug store and all that goodie, like all that kitschy fun stuff. And this lady was crossing the street, and Craig and I were crossing the street, and she was like, have you guys done the Badlands? Like, it was kind of out of nowhere, and there was no one else around. It was a Sunday morning. They were just starting to open. It was very quiet. And we're like, no. And she's like, it's just up the road, and it's amazing. Like, you can't miss it. Like, it's phenomenal. And we were like, why not? You know, we're here. So over we went. And I mean, we got out of the car, and I remember walking up to the walkway, and then you kind of look down. So the road is kind of a little bit down from it, so you can't really see what you're about to look at. And then you kind of walk up and over, and then there's like these fences that somehow are going to keep you in this if you get close to them. Because I think they're just wood. Like, you know, I can see how like the Grand Canyon and all that, how all these deaths and everything, because I mean, they're just steep drop-offs, and this was another one like that. But I remember just standing on the edge with Craig, and we were just holding each other's hands, and I was like, what am I looking at? This is the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen God create. Now, I have not been to the Grand Canyon yet. I know that every time my dad brings it up, it brings tears to his eyes. I'm sure it'll be the same way. It is on the bucket list. But yeah, I just stood there with him, and there were no words. We just stared at the beauty that was the Badlands. And Teddy Roosevelt is more like, I think they had the buffalo there, which was the coolest thing. So it was my first time actually seeing the buffalo roam. Did the deer and the antelope play though? Yes, they did. So I just remember the hills and just there was you know, streams and rivers. Like if there was a true like patriotic park that just encapsulated everything nature about America, I think Teddy Roosevelt's park does that beautifully. Badlands was like landing on the moon or Saturn or some type of planet that it was the craziest thing. So you guys know on a Kilimanjaro safari, they have those this is so funny. They have those poop piles on the safari where they say that they're made from them, even though they're not. Those are just always there. They just happen to always still be there. The same, you know, anyway. They're not real. They are the, whatever they say, they're the excrement, and they use them to, you see, I'm going to be a giraffe now. They use it to itch their heads on giraffes and all this other stuff, and they explain the whole thing. So imagine that pillar of, it looks like sand, it's not, or cement. Imagine like 4 million of those, all different sizes with caverns. That is the Badlands. It's just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I know I have a couple of people in my life who are like, I don't really get the national parks, or so what, there it is. Like I think you love them or you hate them, or maybe you don't even hate them, maybe just indifferent to them. Like you're like, well, yeah, there it is, it's nature. I think it's something so beautiful because we're so knee deep in technology that when you go to the national parks, it's just like standing there and just, whew, I could cry about it now. It's just absolutely mind bending and boggling. And Craig and I had gone to a food store that morning and gotten lunch, picnic lunches, and we ate our little sandwiches, and I think we had wraps maybe with like, I think we bought like, we were treating ourselves and having a Twinkie or a Ho-Ho or something. And we just sat there while we're watching buffalo like 20, 30 feet from our car. We were on the road. They were off. We always stay away, like especially after what we saw happen over in Estes Park. I would never get that close to the bigger wildlife ever. The picture's not worth it. So it's just a feeling I get. Gettysburg's another one that I feel like I have some connection in my past. I don't know if I believe in like reincarnation and all that, but don't you ever feel something when you go to a place and you're like, why do I feel this here? I've never been here before. That's how I felt the first road trip on 17, I did Gettysburg. And I was blown away by how I felt there. I didn't feel sad. I should feel sad. It was like 60,000 people lost their lives. I didn't feel sad. I felt peace there. I felt like I should be there. And I just kind of, I'm actually in several Gettysburg groups on Facebook. I love when they post pictures. I don't know what it is about Gettysburg. I absolutely love it. And then in 2018, when I went back, I did the ghost tour at the orphanage, which was phenomenal. And I got to walk back to my hotel, and it was like midnight, 12:30, and I was really worried about it. So I had Craig on the phone, making sure I got there safely and everything. It was just literally quiet. Like, you know that blinking light Main Street view in Cars where there's just one light for the whole town? That's how Gettysburg feels at night. Everyone just goes to bed. And I feel like all the soldiers are just roaming and walking around watching you. And it's just phenomenal. If you've never been to Gettysburg, go to Gettysburg, because it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. My favorite so far, I'd have to say, is Gettysburg. Devil's Tower was really cool too. So then Dork and me, I walked around, and it's a very spiritual place. I didn't realize that. And you think, how could it be spiritual? It's called Devil's Tower, but just the way that it's formed and what it's got around it. I mean, there's beautiful, God's landscape around it is gorgeous. And the tower itself, people are climbing it, whatever, and all the history around it. And of course, then you got Close Encounters of the Third Kind was filmed there. And I wasn't about to not play the famous tune while I'm standing looking at this, that when I was probably 10, when that movie came out, that I watched that, and I was like, someday I'm gonna go there. And again, the fantasy part, you know, we all kind of like attach ourselves to things in our childhood. I called my dad up because I know I watched Close Encounters with him, and I was like, you are not gonna believe what I'm looking at. It was just phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. It's one thing, Dad, you and I need a road trip over to Devil's Tower together so you can see it. So I still have not done Mount Rushmore, the Grand Canyon, the is it the Redwoods? I don't want to say it wrong. I want to see the big trees in California. I'd like to do those. I've not, everyone says Mount Rushmore is so small, and we were supposed to see it because we were over, in the Dakotas, and we just didn't, we ran out of time. We had that much fun at Teddy's Park. His original barn is there, like where he lived for a while. So it's just so crazy to be standing somewhere where Teddy Roosevelt once was just having his life and being like, oh, this actually happened. This is amazing. I'm trying to think where else I've been. I know there's other ones I'm forgetting. I don't know, like I said, Gettysburg, I hope to hit all the ghost tours there one day. Craig and the kids have not been to Gettysburg, so I want to take them back. My friend Eric Golden and his family have taken me to the Battle Bull Run. That's really cool. Yeah, there's just so much. I mean, DC in itself is just enriched, and Smithsonian's, and we see, Lincoln, and I don't know, there's just a feeling you get when you see him. It's just such, I can't even describe it. It's amazing. So I'm really excited to kind of dive in that. So my goal for basically my bucket list, my life, is to hit all the national parks, and hit all of the Disney parks around the world. Now, hopefully this coronavirus is hopefully dismantled, and hopefully they can stop it. And that gets me very nervous. I am an avid watcher of The Walking Dead, and I should be laughing about because it's not funny, but I really hope that we're not in for some trouble here, folks. So I'm hoping that when everything can get back to normal, which I really pray it can around the world, that I can actually go and see the other parks. I am absolutely dying to see Disneyland Paris and Tokyo Sea, and so many, and I still haven't gotten Craig over to Disneyland. I've been, but he hasn't, so I would like to get him over there. So yeah, it's just the bucket list, like we all have one, right? It just kind of grows every day or every year, and you can take some things off and put some things on. And with our move this year, soon, 3 to 4 months, but 4 months now, we'll be moving to a new home. And once that happens, then we have a visit back to Wisconsin. We're gonna go see everybody up there. We have a wedding to go to. My nephew's getting married, and I get to go see Kim and my mom and my dad. But my girls are gonna meet my brother's girls for the first time, and that's super exciting. So this year's kind of between moving and everything else in life besides races, MegaCon, girls' weekends, race, more runs, more races at the end of the year. It just kind of, it fills in really fast, and I definitely feel blessed enough that it not only does that, but I'm blessed to share it with you guys. And I hope I inspire someone out there to have an adventure today or soon. Go try out these national parks. If you've never done Gettysburg, it's beautiful. You can go see where Lincoln had his address. It's just absolutely incredible. And just to be on that holy ground and just have a moment. It's honestly just having a moment with not only nature, but what happened there. And just, I don't know how to explain it, but I hope you guys enjoyed this national parks chit chat. Let's see, tomorrow is Friday. I usually go to the parks on Friday, but because of our storm situation, maybe I'll go in the afternoon, but I highly doubt it. We'll see. So please tune in, see what happens. I have no idea. Thank you for joining the Daily Joy, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Love y'all. Bye.